Hey, welcome again. In this story, we'll tell you about a cat named Mushi who adopted hedgehogs with their little kittens. It is not uncommon for cats to form close bonds with other animals, including hedgehogs. Cats are social animals and can often form strong relationships with other animals, even those that are very different from them. Hedgehogs are small, gentle creatures that are known for their cute and affectionate nature. They are often kept as pets and can make great companions for cats. Hedgehogs are quiet, easy to care for, and very clean animals. Cats and hedgehogs can bond in many ways. They may play together, groom, or spend time together. Some cats may even adopt hedgehogs as their own and care for them like they would have their own offspring. If you are considering bringing a hedgehog into your home and already have a cat, it is important to introduce them gradually and ensure they get along. It is also essential to provide the hedgehog with a safe and comfortable space and plenty of attention and care. Cats and hedgehogs can form close and lasting bonds with patience and understanding. Mushi, a 1-year-old cat at the Sagraj Zoo in Russia, had always been known to surprise her caretakers, but this time was different. The staff at the zoo had heard her cries and searched throughout the facility for their favorite resident. Mushi had been acting strangely that day, waddling from space to space with her swollen belly. The staff were anxious, as they were worried about her if they didn't find her in time. When they eventually located her, they were surprised to find that she had given birth to a litter of kittens. This was a new development, as the zoo had never had cats. Zookeeper Alice had found Mushi on a cold winter's morning when she noticed a small pile of dirt moving. When she looked closer, she realized it was a frozen Mushi. The tiny kitten was so small that she fit into Alice's hand, and even had icicles stuck to her nose. Alice wasn't sure if Mushi would make it through the night, but she stuffed the hairball inside her jacket and brought her to work. The vets at the zoo worked tirelessly to save Mushi, and even though they did everything they could only wait and see if she would survive. To everyone's disbelief, Mushi made it through the first night, the second, and the third. During their shifts, the keepers would come to the staff room to shower Mushi with affection. She was still underweight and weak, but she managed to get up and run around daily. She quickly became one of the family at the zoo. However, as she grew stronger, the staff realized how much danger she was truly in. Mushi loved to explore, and the window of their staff room was her only experience of the outside world. The staff wanted to keep her safe, as wild animals were on the other side of the glass. One day, as Alice opened the door, Mushi slipped out. The staff managed to keep her inside for over a year, only ever taking her out for short walks on a leash. They were worried about how she would fend for herself outside of the zoo. However, they never expected her to come back like this. Alice spent 2 days searching for Mushi around the grounds of the zoo, worrying every time she passed the crocodiles and other dangerous animals. Some of her colleagues warned her not to expect to see Mushi again, but Alice had faith. She believed that sometimes all you need is a little bit of faith, and her faith was eventually rewarded when Mushi returned. Alice saw Mushi pawing at the glass door, trying to be let back in. She couldn't help but cry, as she had initially intended to find a home for Mushi, but she couldn't bring herself to say goodbye. Her love for Mushi continued to grow, but that wasn't the only thing that was growing. After a few weeks, the staff noticed a change in Mushi. She was lethargic and cranky, which was unusual for her as she normally had a playful personality. She would often hide behind the tablecloth and slap at anyone who passed by. The staff began to leave the door open, allowing Mushi to venture out and explore the grounds, but she no longer had any interest in doing so. Instead, she would lie on the ground outside. They never expected to discover what was causing this behavior change. One day, Alice returned to the staff room after feeding, looking forward to having a hot cup of tea. However, when she got there, Mushi was nowhere to be found. This time, Alice didn't panic. She knew Mushi would come back sooner or later. But on the second day, there was heavy rain, and Mushi hadn't returned yet. So Alice and the other keepers took their flashlights and started searching every nook and corner of the zoo. They were sure that Mushi was never leaving this zoo and hiding somewhere. Suddenly they heard a sound of cries at some distance, so they followed the sound, thinking something must be wrong there. When they reached the exact place, they saw something they could never expect. Mushi was not alone. There were a couple of hedgehogs with 2 of her newborn kittens there. Alice was not ready to leave without them, as she showed aggression when Alice tried to pick them up. They were astonished to see hedgehogs among two little creatures. They needed to find out where these hedgehogs came from and what to do with them. One by one, Alice loaded them into a box of blankets and brought them all into the vet room. Alice had more questions than answers. He separated the species into two boxes before leaving for a talk with Alice. This cat was lying helplessly on the ground, but when she saw Alice, she stopped crying and closed her eyes. Although it seemed this cat was glad someone finally came to rescue her, she no longer had the strength to fight for her life. When the cat heard Alice's voice, she opened her eyes but closed them immediately. Alice quickly stuffed the furry animals into her jacket to keep her warm. She took it back to the vet and asked the veterinarian to treat the cat in her office. When the vet saw the cat, he said he wasn't sure she would make it that night. Alice refused to go home. Instead, she slept in the office. She planned to stay awake the entire night so she could at least say goodbye to Mushi. However, as nature would have it, Alice eventually dozed off by 3 and didn't even wake up until 7 a.m. She sprung to her feet and looked in the direction where Mushi had been sleeping. When Mushi woke up, it picked up her kittens and moved them one by one over the hedgehogs. She sat amongst them, proud as ever, purring as they burrowed into her for heat where the hedgehogs were not hurting her. In fact, Mushi had adopted these hedgehogs. The veterinarian was very surprised to see this scene. Alice took photos and uploaded them online, and people were also surprised to see this scene. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot more great content coming your way, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. We post new content every week and would love to have you join our community. Your support helps us to continue creating informative and entertaining content, and we appreciate it greatly. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you back here soon.